Hello, my friends. Welcome to PMP Exam Prep, Pace and Reasoning. As you work on the retrospective, a discussion about enablers of agility is started by two team members. As servant leader, they ask you for advice. Which of the following would you use as an enabler for agility? Choose two options. If you need more time as usual, hit the pause button. The answer to this, my friends, could be gleaned from the Agile Manifesto. And one of the principles tells you that technical excellence and good design enhances agility. So the answer is A and B. You can find this on page 9 of the Agile Practice Guide. Let's move on. You are working on an Agile project and your customer is looking forward to approving the final deliverable. You need to perform frequent incorporation of ongoing work into the whole product and then retest to determine that the entire product still works as intended. Which of the following XP practices should you do to satisfy this need? Okay, hit the pause button if you need more time. The answer to this, my friend, is not D. There's no such thing. And it's not C. Spikes just refers to prototyping, additional research, or some risk action. The best answer, my friend, is A. This is continuous integration. Performing frequent incorporation of work into the whole, no matter the product, and then retest to determine that the entire product still works as intended. Code refactoring is cleaning up code, but that is not what this question is talking about. This question is clearly talking about integration. Next question. You're working on an Agile project with team members. Your customer is looking forward to approving the final deliverable. Which of the following should you do first as a project manager? Hit the pause button if you need more time. Let's take a look at the options. A. First conduct a retrospective before the final deliverable is inspected is implying the retrospective comes before the sprint review. That's not correct, so it cannot be A. On your exam, remember to use process of elimination when in doubt. So it's not A. B says ensure that customer acceptance occurs before refactoring takes place. Well, that doesn't make sense. You would refactor your code before your customer gets that product, service, or result. C states first deliver the product release before the minimum viable product. It's the other way around. MVP comes first, and then you would release. So it's not C either. The best answer, my friend, is D. First define the definition of done to enable proper deliverable acceptance. When we define the definition of done, it's a set of things that must be complete before the final deliverable, or your increment, if you will, is deemed acceptable. So the answer is D. Bear in mind, there is an order that things should happen. The minimum viable product is a minimum amount of functionality that gives the customer enough of the product for them to give you feedback as far as if you're on the right track or not. Okay, so the best answer to this, my friend, is D, the definition of done. As it reads, a team's checklist of all the criteria required to be met so a deliverable can be considered ready for customer use. Let's move on to the next one. Next question. You have been asked to define the quality standards for the project and its products based on the project scope, risks, and requirements in order to prevent the occurrence of defects and control the cost of quality. What should you do first as the project manager? Okay. Hit the pause button if you need more time. Well, rule number one, what needs to happen first when you're talking about quality standards, defining the standards? This should be very obvious, my friends. You got to develop a quality management plan first. It reads, plan quality management is the process of identifying quality requirements and or standards for the project and its deliverables, and documenting how the project will demonstrate compliance with quality requirements and or standards. Let's move on to the next one. Your firm has been awarded a project to revamp infrastructure on an abandoned land for use by the general public. The cost of quality has been determined as a first step. Which item should the project manager have worked on as part of this first step? Hit the pause button if you need more time. Let's take a look at the options. Decide on quality metrics is not out of place. That happens in planning. B, testing. That does not happen as part of the first step. C, process analysis does not happen as part of a first step. That's usually step 2, which is quality assurance. D states product inspection, and that happens in step 3, which is quality control. So the best answer here, my friends, is A, quality metrics. That is the only thing that you get out of planning quality management. Everything else comes after. Let's move on. Your firm has been awarded a project to carry out an analysis of a product's partial life cycle from resource extraction cradle to the factory gate. The quality assurance process is likely to require the construction of a new lab, which would cost almost half of your proposed profits. Management asks you to estimate the strengths and weaknesses of alternatives in order to determine the best alternative and justify the cost expenditure for this quality aspect. Which quality technique or which technique should you use? All right, hit the pause button if you need more time. So when you think of these options, my friends, to justify cost expenditures, there's 2 that you can immediately shoot down. Performing quality assurance is not a technique, that's a process. And plan cost management is a process. So if I was on the exam, I would eliminate these 2, and I would be left with 2. And they're both in that same domain of quality meets cost. But there's one that helps you justify cost expenditures, and it's not the cost of quality. The answer is B, cost-benefit analysis. This is used to estimate the strengths and weaknesses of alternatives in order to determine the best alternative in terms of benefits provided. A cost-benefit analysis will help the project manager determine if the planned quality activities are cost-effective. Let's move on. Your firm has been awarded a project to design a rainwater harvesting system. As your project progresses, you are asked to ensure that the processes being carried out will result in project success while identifying process improvement opportunities. Which of the following statements describes what is being done? All right, my friends, hit the pause button if you need more time. Going through these mentally, it states, you are asked, watch this, to ensure that the processes being carried out will result in project success. This is not planning quality. This is not controlling quality. It's too late by then. So it's not B and it's not C. Now, it says using process analysis as a technique. Process analysis is the technique being referred to here. to some degree. And the reason why you know this is your process analysis ensures that the processes are of value, and you look to optimize your processes, but it's not done in control quality. Ensuring that processes will result in success is done in quality assurance, and that's code for managed quality. So the best answer here, my friends, is manage quality, not the control quality processes. Manage quality involves following and meeting standards to ensure stakeholders that the product will meet their needs, expectations, and requirements. Process analysis identifies opportunities for process improvement. This analysis also examines problems, constraints, and non-value added activities that occur during a process. Okay, let's move on to our next question. Your firm has been awarded a project to design an inexpensive cutting-edge alternative fuel. You are working with a set of technical guidelines for the optimization of certain aspects, cost, safety, and quality of this product while it is under development. Optimization of certain aspects of this product while it's under development. What does this describe? All right, hit the pause button if you need more time. So when you think about it, you're working with a set of guidelines and you want to optimize certain aspects of the product. This describes one thing only. It's not a Monte Carlo, and it's neither of the analyses, my friends. It's A. This is designed for X. It's a direct cutout from the PMP guide. It reads, Design for X is a set of technical guidelines that may be applied during the design of a product for the optimization of specific aspects of the design. DFX can control or even improve the product's final characteristics. So whenever you see a product, remember, it's designed for something. It could be designed for ease of assembly, like IKEA claims. It could be designed for ease of use. It could be designed for ergonomics. It could be designed for optimization of energy. It really depends. Let's move on. You are the project manager on an Agile project. You have been asked to carry out a quality activity to improve on the team's performance. Which of the following ceremonies does this best describe? Hit the pause button if you need more time. Since this directly talks about team performance, there's only one answer that I would expect you to go for, and that is the retrospective. It's a regularly occurring workshop in which participants explore their work and results in order to improve both process and product. Let's go to the next set of questions. You have been awarded a project to design a district energy system, DES system, for a client. Close to project end, the customer requested a significant change, which is approved by the CCB. After reviewing certain reports, which of the following is true about this approved change request? All right, hit the pause button if you need more time. This question is testing to see if you understand the dynamics of change requests and what happens to them. A change request gets reviewed and ultimately it could get approved. And that's called an approved change request. So what happens with it? Should it be used to plan programs in the firm? Not necessarily. Should it be used to develop the charter? No. The charter comes first. Should it be used as an input to perform integrated change control? And the answer is no. It's an output of performing integrated change control. So the best answer is A. The implementation of approved changes should be verified, confirmed for completeness, retested, and certified as correct. So this is going to be used to retest, to check the reworked product. Moving on, you are verifying that project deliverables conform to the quality standards in the quality management plan. You are using appropriate tools and techniques to meet project requirements and business needs. A major technique carried out here should be all right, my friends, hit the pause button if you need more time. Since this is talking about project deliverables conforming, it means the deliverables are done. You're no longer in executing at this point. You're now checking the product. Therefore, when you use the process of elimination, you will not choose decomposition, which is used for the WBS and the schedule. You will not choose quality planning because that has already happened. And you will not use quality audits because that has already happened, because this is process related. This question is talking about a product. This is product related. So the best answer, my friends, is retrospectives and lessons learned. These are meetings held by a project team to discuss successful elements in the project or phase and other details. When it says tools and techniques, you got to understand that the retrospective and lessons learned are tools and techniques of perform, or I should say, control quality. Control quality uses retrospectives and it uses lessons learned as a technique. Let's move on. Go into the next question. You have been awarded a short project to install several demountable partitions for a huge company move. Parts of the installment were found to be defective and change requests from the customer were approved for rework. During quality control, you ensure these changes are indeed in the revised deliverable. What is the derived output of these actions known as? Okay, so my friends, this is asking pretty straightforward about what do you get out of quality control. And it's not A or B, and neither is it D. This is really just describing the obvious. It's a verified deliverable. A goal of control quality is to determine correctness of deliverables, and the results of performing the control quality process are verified deliverables, and that becomes an input to validate scope for formalized acceptance. Let's move on. And that concludes our view of the relatively intermediate questions. Going up a notch, let's take a look at our more advanced questions that are tailored after the what should the project manager do next theme. Let's jump straight into it. Here is our first question. It reads, as a project manager in the biotechnical industry, you're leading a research project with strict quality standards. During the execution phase, let's start again. I apologize for that. Now you can see the question. Let's go. As a project manager in the biotechnical industry, you are leading a research project with strict quality standards. During the execution phase, you discover that some laboratory equipment used in the project is not calibrated as per the required specifications. What should you do next to manage this quality issue effectively? Hit the pause button if you need more time. Okay, well, let's begin taking a look at the answers one by one and use the process of elimination. Using the process of elimination, there's a statement here. A, it says, conduct an impact analysis to assess the potential and then risk effects. And then it says of the equipment calibration issue on future project outcomes. So this is saying, what would the impact be of poor calibration on our future outcomes? Well, this really is not important because now it's an issue, right? And it says a quality issue. So we're not interested at this point in potential risks. First of all, a risk is potential, so it's needless to put potential in front, but it just sounds intelligent. But this is not a good option because it's saying, let's check what happens if we continue like this. You don't want to continue like this, so it cannot be A. You don't need to conduct an impact analysis to assess risk effects. This is an issue. You already know that this does not meet required specifications. So whatever happens in the future going like this is not part of the discussion. It shouldn't even come up. It's like saying, well, let's see what happens if we use a faulty calibration. You don't care. You don't want to use a faulty calibration. So it's not A. B says, communicate the quality issue to the project team and stakeholders and seek their input on resolving it. Now, while that sounds good, the question is, are they the best people to solve this? Let's take a look at what we have in the next option. Option C, collaborate with the laboratory personnel and equipment suppliers to rectify the calibration issue. This is a good word, rectify. Rectify the issue. This has nothing to do with risk, like I said. And this is the laboratory personnel. They're the best people to do this, not just the stakeholders in general. So we're going to cancel B. The better option is C, but let's take a look at D. D says update the project management plan to incorporate additional quality control measures to prevent similar issues in the future. Now, that's not a bad thing, but it's not going to happen first. C happens and then D. So the best option here, my friends, is C. Okay? Collaborate with the laboratory personnel and equipment suppliers to rectify the calibration issue. All right. By collaborating with the laboratory personnel and equipment suppliers to rectify the calibration issue, the project manager can ensure that the equipment meets the required quality standards and maintains the integrity of the research project. So I want to encourage you, my friends, as you go through these, you might feel stumped and you might feel almost a little bit frustrated with some of the questions. But I want to assure you, the more questions you do, the better you get, the more bulletproof you get, and the better you're able to take on the actual exam. Okay, let's take a look at this. You are a project manager in the construction industry, overseeing the construction of a high-rise building. During the execution phase, you receive unsubstantiated reports of substandard materials being used by the subcontractor from a different firm who originally lost the bid. What should you do next to address this quality concern? I'll give you some time to think about it. All right, friends. Let's take a look at the options, and we'll use the process of elimination. So whenever you come across a problem, I recommend using the dig sieve. Define the problem, identify the root cause, generate the alternatives in your head, choose the best alternative, and in the real world, you would implement it and verify it worked. But for the exam, for solving problems on the exam, it's pretty much define what the problem is in this question, identify the root cause of the problem, then choose the best alternative. So you could generate them in your head, but it's going to boil down to choosing from what PMI gives you. So we see these are unsubstantiated, which means they cannot be relied on. So these are reports from subcontractor from a different firm who originally lost the bid. Oh, could there possibly be bad blood brewing and hearsay? It's possible. So we cannot hang our hat on these unsubstantiated claims. So let's see. A, conduct a thorough inspection and testing of the materials to verify their quality. It's not a bad idea because these claims are not solid. It's unsubstantiated. There's no evidence. B says, communicate the quality concern to project stakeholders and seek their input on addressing the issue using historical information, lessons learned, and environmental factors. Now that sounds smart, but it says it's an issue. We actually don't know that. So this is not substantiated. We're going to cancel that because you don't want to tell stakeholders what is not substance. You don't know. You've got no evidence. C says stakeholder engagement with a subcontractor to rectify the use of substandard materials and ensure compliance with quality standards. Now, while that sounds good, you still don't know if this is the case. So that is presumptuous, and you wouldn't choose C because you don't know for sure. Keep an eye on keywords in questions. These reports don't have any substance, okay? D, update the project management plan to include additional quality assurance measures to prevent similar issues. So again, it wouldn't be D. The best option is to conduct thorough inspection and testing. Yes, it's not substantiated, but as a project manager, you always want to take preemptive action just in case those claims are true. This is a very tricky question to navigate, I understand, but let's take a look at further clarification. By conducting a thorough inspection and testing of the materials to verify their quality, the project manager can gather evidence of any substandard materials and take appropriate actions to address the quality concern. Remember, these are unsubstantiated reports. All right, my friends, let's take a look at the last one of three. I'll let you read it. Excuse me, let's read that. As a project manager in the information technology software industry, you are leading a software development project. During the testing phase, you realize that certain critical functionalities are not meeting the specified requirements. What should you do next to manage this quality issue? All right, let's take a look at this, my friends, and use again the process of elimination. Using the process of elimination, A, analyze the impact of the quality issue on the project objectives and deliverables. Well, certain functionalities are not meeting the specified requirements. That's the bottom line, right? These deliverables cannot be used if they're not meeting specified requirements anyway. So doing an impact analysis on the project objectives and deliverables is inconsequential. Even if you feel, well, there's no impact, no, you still need to comply with the specified requirements. Okay, so A is not the best option. Okay, it's like saying, well, these functions don't meet the specified requirements, but they don't hurt anyone. Let's go ahead and still use them. No, there needs to be some rectification. So doing an impact analysis is kind of inconsequential here. Bottom line is your requirements or your functionalities are not meeting the specified requirements. B, communicate the quality issue to the project team and stakeholders and seek their input on resolving it. Well, random stakeholders are not the best people to contact for this. See, so we wouldn't choose B either, even though it sounds like a plausible one. That would be a last-ditch effort if there wasn't something better. Let's take a look at C. Collaborate with the development team. Keyword, rectify the functionality issues and ensure compliance. You've got to, even if you feel, oh, nothing else is affected. No, you should ensure compliance. So C is beginning to look like a possible best option. Let's take a look at D. Update the project management plan to incorporate additional quality control measures to prevent similar issues. While that's not a bad thing to do, it's not the thing you should do next. So you want to sort out the issue, which is option C, and then you could do the other stuff stated. Whenever you see these options on the exam, you got to remember that it's asking you for what should you do first. What is the best thing to do right now? Okay. That is how you need to tackle them in your head. So by collaborating with the development team to rectify the functionality issues and ensure compliance with requirements, the project manager can address quality concerns and ensure that the software meets the specified standard and user expectations. So my friends, at this point, we are moving on to a curveball question for the day. Now, the whole idea about the curveball question is to take a look at something that is almost outrageously long, a little bit longer than you would have expected. So let's jump in. After several months of training and examining new ways of working for the entire organization, a team just transitioned to using Agile practices. They wanted to conduct a retrospective meeting, but were unsure of when it should be conducted. In the past, they would only conduct a lessons learned during the final phase of the project. When should the Agile coach advise the team to conduct the retrospective meeting? I'll give you some time to think about it. Okay, hit the pause button if you need more time. Taking a look here, my friends, we can see at the end of the project or phase, well, for retrospective, that's a little bit too late, so it's not A. B, just after the conclusion of every release. Well, you know, releases are different from sprints. So we're talking about possibly months before you do a retro. No, not a good one. It boils down to C and D, before sprint planning for the next iteration. That's plausible because the retrospective in the world of Scrum happens at the end of the sprint. D, as and when any dysfunction is discovered. Wow, that's going to be a whole lot of retros, possibly. It also doesn't fit various models that are used in the world of Agile. So the best one to choose, my friends, is not A, B, or D. The best option to choose is option C. It's before sprint planning for the next iteration. That makes the most sense. If you haven't taken a look at PMI's Agile Practice Guide and the practices on page 50 forward, I would advise you to do that. I think it will help you. The retrospective is a separate event, and it should be conducted after the sprint review and before the next planning event. And this is so that you can take the lessons from the current sprint and feed them into the next sprint. And that could impact what you do in sprint planning. So keep that in mind. And my friends, we have come to the end of our PMP exam prep, pace, and reasoning in the quality area. I appreciate you joining me today. Remember, if you have any questions or concerns, this channel is here to support you. There's a number of options as far as podcasts that you can sync up to. We have a podcast which is at pmradio.org. We have a boot camp which is coming up sometime soon at hpmexam.com. And usually we do these once a month or once every 2 months. So keep plugged in. And we also have a number of other tools at Praizion.com, our main website. Go on down to Praizion.com and take a look at the number of opportunities there for both PMP students and graduates. Thank you, my friends. It's been your buddy Phil. I hope you found value from this. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll see you in the next episode. And don't forget, we actually have 4 episodes before this: integration, scope, schedule, and cost. This is number 5. It's 5 out of 10. We got 5 more to go. You take care, and bye for now.